Our last stop is in the Big Ten. And the defending national champions are number 128 out of 133 teams in returning production. And they did go 12-0 last year. So we only have to find 3 losses for the champs here. Well, Texas, Ohio State, and somebody. Oregon at home. USC at home. So out of those 4 games, Texas, USC, Oregon, Ohio State, they lose 3 of those 4. That's most likely going to be the 3 if they make the list. They do have to go to Seattle to take on Washington as well, although the Huskies are a much, much different team than they were last year. And we'll move on right to the Huskies from there because, man, it would probably be a good year for Jed Fish and company if they hit this list at a -3 and still go 9-3 because, of course, they were 12-0 last year. Michael Penix gone, all the receivers gone, the offensive line completely gone. 3 of them to Alabama, 2 or 3. All right, but they come out of the gate probably 3-0, probably 4-0 Northwestern, Rutgers maybe 5-0, but still 9-3. Yes, they are a definite candidate here. Michigan, Iowa, USC, Penn State, Oregon, all sorts of losses that you can find for the Huskies and Will Rogers here. So Washington, plus or minus 3, definitely a strong candidate, and they have some of the least returning production in all of college football. Now let's go to a team that Washington has drubbed the last 2 years, and that would be Michigan State, now with a new head coach in Jonathan Smith. So great addition there. So does Michigan State. Do they increase 3 wins from 4-8 to 7-5? FAU, Prairie View, BC, 3 non-conference wins most likely, although BC is not going to be easy. Look at that opening stretch. I know they've got Maryland on September 7th, but they're moved back into Big Ten scheduling there at the end of September. Ohio State, Oregon, Iowa, Michigan. Whoo-wee! That's tough. But we're only looking for 4 wins here. Let's say it's Indiana, Illinois, Purdue, and Rutgers. The last 4 of this year. They go 3-5, then they win the last 4 to not only get to bowl eligibility, but more importantly, of course, to make the Voice of College Football plus or minus 3 at 7-5. Now let's get to the team that just about everybody has taking a big jump this year in Matt Rule's second season. Nebraska 5-7 again last year as they missed bowl play for the zillionth time in a row, going back to 2016. They are 3rd in the nation in returning production. Dylan Raiola, the freshman phenom, will be the starting quarterback. And we've got to find 8 wins for Nebraska. UTEP, Colorado, Northern Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, Indiana. I found 7 right out of the gate, 7-0. They probably trip up, maybe twice. It's tough down the stretch, though. But let's say they're 6-1 at that point. Only need 2 more wins at that point. UCLA and either Wisconsin or Iowa. Most likely scenario there. 6-1 start. Defeat UCLA. Defeat either Wisconsin or Iowa to get from 5 wins to 8 and make the Voice of College Football plus or minus 3. Mike Elko and Duke were amazing last year. Kalen DeBoer and what he pulled off at Washington. Jed Fish at Arizona. We could keep going. But the best coaching job in college football, David Braun and Northwestern. Unbelievable. From 1-11 and what everybody thought would be another 1-win season to 8-5 with a bowl win. So Northwestern at 7-5 last year in the regular season. Man, would I love to say, let's put them on the list to go to 10-2, but we know why they're here. It's Northwestern to go to 4-8 after 7-5, despite being 6th in the nation in returning production. All right, so Northwestern, 4-8. Did they lose 8 games? Probably lose to Duke again, right? They lose to Duke every year. Then at Washington, Lose to Maryland on the road. That's 3. Wisconsin's 4. Iowa's 5. Lose 3 more games. Ohio State and Michigan, and then either Purdue or Illinois. And shoot, it's Northwestern. They almost always lose to an out-of-conference MAC team. Could they lose to Miami of Ohio out of the gate? I'm looking at this now thinking, I hope Northwestern can get back to a bowl game at 6-6, and they could probably do it. But they could also lose the 8 games that we outlined right there. So there's our last candidate. Northwestern, 7-5 last year, would have to drop to 4-8 to finish on the Voice of College Football plus or minus 3. But we've got one more candidate. They don't play in a conference. They play in the Pac-2 now. Washington State. Despite losing Cam Ward, Washington State was only 2-7 in the Pac-12, 5 wins overall. So they've got to go to 8-4. They lose one of the best quarterbacks in the country. However, remember the schedule. It's basically a Mountain West schedule. Portland State, San Jose State, then all those Mountain West games. Boise State, Fresno State. Make your selections. 8 wins. Actually, let's look where they're going to lose 4 games or more than 4 games. They could lose to Texas Tech. They could lose to Washington. That would be 2. And then if they lose to either Boise State or Fresno State, puts them at 3. They lose to Oregon State late in the season on the road. That puts them at 4. But they get to lose another game at 7-5. Washington State should get to 8-4 again as a quasi-member of the Mountain West Conference. It's just strange to say this is Washington State's schedule and you're looking at a Mountain West schedule, but with 1 game against the Big 12 and 2 games against what were Pac-12 teams, Washington and Oregon State, but the rest, it's the Mountain West going to the Great Northwest at Washington State. So, yes, Washington State could get to 8-4. So those are the candidates, and once again, it's the plus or minus 3 here at the Voice of College Football. Who are my selections? I like a 4-pack of Washington, 12-0 last year, got to drop to at least 9-3. Pitt, 3-9 last year, get back to bowl play at 6-6. Arizona State, Kenny Dillingham, moving in from the Pac-12 to the Big 12, 3-9 last year. I think we can find them 6 wins right there. And also Washington State, the last team we looked at, again, a bit of a cheat there, 5-7 in the Pac-12, play that Mountain West schedule, so they should be able to get to 8 wins under Jake Dickert. Your candidates, we want to hear from you. Leave your comments down below. And, of course, lock it in right here at the Voice of College Football. Give us a like. Of course, sub it up. And we'll see you next time right here at the Voice of College Football.